Morning, everybody. Today's my chance just to tell you a little bit about my company, and I'm going to do a little bit of just sort of background about me so that hopefully by the end of it, you'll know a little bit more about me as well as what I do. So first of all, we'll start off with the easy bit. So a little bit about me. Starting top left, yes, I was blonde as a child. Born and bred in Yorkshire. I've always lived here. Next picture to the right hand side is me and my hubby. Funnily enough, I know you won't guess it, but that's on our wedding day. We didn't actually tell anybody we were getting married. We had a secret wedding. We invited everybody to my 40th, and then they turned up and there was me in a very over the top dress, which meant that my best mate spent half the night running across the car park to bring people back because they thought they'd turned up at the wrong event. Next picture along to the right, that is my family. I just mentioned a few moments ago, I have two sisters. So in the yellow cardigan and the one with the sunglasses, that's Kate and Lucy. My dad there in the middle, my mum there, me above mum, my husband Clive, Lucy's husband Andy, Kate's partner Dave, and that is my little niece Amelia, who is on the front there. And we were there for my parents' 50th wedding anniversary in Croatia. Next bit, I am a massive Bradford City fan. Apologies. I've had a season ticket for years. I know that won't be popular. That particular picture was taken on a train on our way up to London, and it was the 24th of January 2015, which won't mean anything to anybody unless you're a Bradford fan, but that was the day we played Chelsea in the fourth round of the FA Cup, and we were losing 2-0, and we won 4-2, and it was just the best day ever. So hence the reason that's on. Next bit, British Legion. So for my sins, I have been secretary of our local branch of the British Legion for 20 years this year. Wow. It's definitely somebody else's turn to pick it up this time. Next picture across, love gigs, live music, and particularly going to gigs abroad. That, in case anybody, I'll be really impressed if anybody can work that out from the picture, but that's the Imagine Dragons. We went to Bergen in Norway to see them last year, and it was just phenomenal, absolutely amazing. Next bit, yes, I've done a skydive. I jumped out of a plane for a British Legion. We needed to raise some money for a bench, believe it or not, but there is now a bench in the middle of Murfields that's there just because I threw myself out of a plane, which is kind of nice. I feel I have a legacy. Next picture, very fitting that we were talking about what your best friend would think. That's mine. Me and Rachel have been best buddies since school, and it is so rare to find a picture of us without a glass in our hand, hence the reason that one's there. I stuck on Henry VIII because I'm a real geek about the Tudors. I absolutely love anything to do with Henry, his wives, his kids, his parents, his grandparents. Just think that whole era is amazing. I watch, read, all types of stuff. I did say I'm a bit geeky. And the last picture, yes, that is me. So I play field hockey. I'm not usually a goalkeeper, which I was in that, but I couldn't find a picture of us in our normal kit. So that one had to do for the moment. But yeah, play at Slassinger's in Wakefield for about 7 years now. Absolutely love it. So there you go, snap of my personal life. Going on to my working career, so I kind of started off on Huddersfield Market selling coats when I was 13, believe it or not. I've had a job as a waitress and a barmaid, but if we want to get on to like proper jobs, when I left school, I didn't really fancy going to university, so I got myself a job at a firm of criminal solicitors in Bradford. Was there for a number of years, and then all my mates came back from university with these degrees and were getting these really good jobs, and I was like, all right, so I'm going to spend my life going to prisons and police stations. That's not really what I wanted. So I went and did my law degree part-time. Move on then to sort of proper jobs related to HR. I started at Haworth's in Clackheaton, was there for a number of years, then moved to Ventura, which was a call centre in Leeds. Loved that company, it was so good. Ventura then got taken over by Capita, and I'm going to come back onto Capita in a minute because that was quite a big part of my working life. And the last company I worked at was called The Big Word. So did a language service provider, translation and interpreting services. A friend of mine that I'd worked with at Capita worked there, kind of sort of pinched me and went along, ended up HR manager and then global head of people and talent. So when people say to me, do I wish I'd done my business before? Yes, I kind of do, but actually I think I needed to do all those jobs and go on that journey because hopefully now it gives me a bit of credibility and people might at least get the impression I know what I'm talking about. So yeah, so I think I needed to do that before I did what I do now. So I just wanted to come back onto Capita. I had a fab job at Capita. It does get a bit of bad rap. I know it does. It's quite a large company. But actually, as an HR business partner, it was great for us because we got assigned a head count of employees. So I had 1,200 employees under my remit, and that was made up of lots of different accounts. So as a result of that, I got to work on some really big sort of household names because they all outsourced their call centres to Capita. You wouldn't have known whether you were ringing EE or you were ringing Capita, but that's what we did. So I worked on Debenhams, I worked on RSPCA. So it's kind of given me a bit of a broad background of knowing lots of different industries, which is really helpful. And some of you might have seen on LinkedIn, I do a lot of work with our local RSPCA now, and that was good because I could get into them because I used to look after the national call centre. And yeah, when people say, have I got a niche at the moment? I don't really, but that's because I feel like I've got quite a good spread of various industries. I've done a bit of retail, I've done telecommunications, I've done utilities, so all that type of stuff. And if somebody's got an employee that's ringing in every Tuesday after a bank holiday, it doesn't really matter whether they work at T-Mobile, Volkswagen or Debenhams, we still need to manage that particular incident. So, sorry, I talk very fast now. How can I help businesses? I just thought I'll stick a list on. There's loads of things that I can do to help out. And I'll happily send you this if you want. I don't expect you to write it all down and remember it. There's the obvious stuff that I can help with: recruitment, onboarding, absence issues, performance issues, discipline, grievance. But actually then those other bits, your time off for dependents, how much time can I have off if my child's ill, or the school's rung and there's an incident where the concrete might fall down on the head. So what do I do about time off to manage that and looking after my kids? I've been involved with drafting settlement agreements. I've helped companies implement values and make sure that they're not just something that's stuck on a wall as you walk into reception, but actually they're part and parcel of the culture of your company. So all types of things that I can do there. And then there's your documentation, which I tend to mention most weeks in my little 60 seconds bit, and all sorts of training, anything to do with HR type matters. How are we doing for time? Oh, this is good. So then I kind of thought, well, why me? Because you'll all go to lots of networking events and you're going to meet lots of HR people. So I kind of figured I need to just persuade you as to why you should point them in my direction. Firstly, I think I've got some pretty good customer service skills. You remember way back at age 13 on Huddersfield Market, started pretty young, and I've been trying to work on those sort of ever since, really. Secondly, I'm a problem solver. I love fixing problems, always have done. So that fits in so nicely with companies going, how do I sort out this with my employee? So that's really good. You can absolutely trust me with anything confidential. HR generally find out what's going on in a business before a lot of the staff there, and we have to keep our mouths shut when we know there's going to be a massive restructure and people are going to lose their jobs in 2 or 3 months' time. We're the ones who have to keep that to ourselves. So you can absolutely trust me. I'm extremely organised. I'm ashamed to admit, well, I'm not actually, I'm proud of it. I took a spreadsheet on holiday once when we went to America with all the different places that we wanted to go visit, what days we were visiting them, so that we didn't spend all our time racing across town to see different things. We did certain things in one half of the day, certain things in the other half of the day. So yeah, I'm not quite sure why Clive married me, to be honest. I've got some pretty good listening and communication skills. You've already seen I'm a Bradford City fan, so I am resilient and patient. Over my career, I've managed HR teams, I've managed recruitment teams, I've dealt with employee benefits, learning and development teams. So I've got quite a broad spectrum of things that fall under the HR remit. And I may have mentioned once or twice, I have a law degree. So I'm qualified to the same level as a solicitor, but unlike a solicitor, I've got that hands-on experience of actually sitting there and taking notes, taking witness statements, telling people they're at risk of redundancy, all those types of things. So there you go. That's me, Paveley HR Solutions. Thank you very much for listening. I'm at 8 minutes and 49 seconds. I did have a little quiz on the end in case nobody has any questions, but I'll chuck it over to you guys first and see if anybody wants to ask anything.
Brilliant, Sarah. That was brilliant. Anybody got any questions for Sarah? I've got a question then. So absolutely understand that you haven't got a niche in terms of a particular service sector, but do you have a particular size of business that you like to work with, or a particular, do you have a favourite client?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're not supposed to, are you? They're a bit like children. I think you're not really supposed to pick your favourites. But yeah, there's a company that I work with that's quite small. There's only there's 5 of them in total. So the owner, 4 members of staff, and the owner's a young guy, and he's so passionate and enthusiastic that it lifts you whenever you speak to him. Don't get me wrong, it's a bit challenging at times because he's a bit like an enthusiastic puppy and you're trying to get him back on focus as to what you're actually talking about. But I love that enthusiasm for literally everything he does, for his staff, for his work, for his plans to grow. So yeah, if anybody knows any sort of really excitable young entrepreneurs that have got 4 or 5 members of staff and are looking to grow their business, then that really excites me. Yeah, really good.
Brilliant. That's really helpful. Thank you very much. John, you seem to have your hand up, I think.
I most certainly do. Brilliant. Thanks for that, Sarah. In all of that, how did you manage to squeak in a law degree? Just, I'll do that. There we go. Cheeky law degree. Squeak that in.
I did it part-time, so while I was still working at the solicitors in Bradford, so 2 nights a week for 4 years. And I think I might have mentioned to a couple of you one-to-ones, when I first started, there was 150 of us, or 156 actually, in the auditorium on that first year. And they said it's a 4-year course, there's a lot of work outside of the 2 nights a week, at least half of you will drop out of this. And we all kind of went, well, it won't be me, I won't. 4 years later, 9 of us graduated out of that 156. So it was quite tough going, I'm not going to lie. And actually, to the point, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. If you're going to do it, go straight from school and do the whole thing properly. But yeah, it got me what I needed. So yeah, it was quite tough.
Yeah, I needed to ask that you tell, because I think with adult learning, it is extraordinary, that we do our work and then we go and study part-time in our what's known as spare time. So I think that's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely.
And then did my bar job on a Saturday night as well. So yeah, that was an interesting period. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Anybody else got a question for Sarah?